You're listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast, celebrating hunting dog heritage, competition, and community. United Kennel Club has been the hunting dog sports home for coonhounds, beagles, retrievers, pointers, cur, feist, and more for over 125 years.
Welcome back to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. This is Trevor Wade. I'm the Coonhound Program Manager at UKC. And today I'm joined by Alan Gingrich, the Director of Hunting Ops. What's going on, Alan?
Well, not a whole lot. Just another day in the office, kind of getting some Beagle qualifier stuff done and wrapped up for all the clubs this next year. About got all that stuff wrapped up. So doing that and working on some of the new stuff we're working on, just knee deep into all that stuff. So it's been a busy week, a busy day again, and it's a fun time though. But yeah, just end of the year stuff.
Yep, preparing for next year.
Yeah.
Today we got another special guest on with us, and it's the chairman of the Grand American Committee. Is that what they call you? And I got Mr. David McKee here.
How are y'all?
Good. We're coming up on the 2025 Grand American 61st annual. So we thought it might be a fun idea to get David on here. We've had him on before, typically while we're at the event and doing things, but thought we might have him on here for the preview because he can tell you guys maybe some more details or more specific details than Alan and I can just by looking at the event ads. So David, 61 Grand American. This will be the 61st one. How many of those have you been to?
I haven't missed one since 1977.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
First one David was in what, 1965? Was it 65?
Yep. Harry has made every one of them, and I know he's the only one on the board that's made every one.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, we're talking about long-standing events. You know, Autumn Oaks was 1960, and I think Grand American had to be the next major event that UKC had, or basically in coon hunting as far as a major event, wasn't it? Was it not? Any event for that matter.
Yeah.
I don't know when the ACHA World started exactly. But it's got to be, the Grand American's got to be right up there with Autumn Oaks and probably the ACHA World Championship, probably some of the longest standing events in the coonhound world.
Yeah, I think it's, both of those are definitely two that have stood the test of time and are still successful.
Yeah. Has it always been, and I'm kind of jumping in Trevor's lane here maybe, or fishing out of his pond or watching his bobber or whatever you want to call it here, but has it always been in Orangeburg? Has it not always been in Orangeburg?
It has.
Never been anywhere else?
Never been anywhere else.
Yeah.
They got that right from the beginning then. So you went ahead and say it's Grand American this year, January 3rd and 4th, always the first full weekend in January, the kickoff to the year, get us started on the right foot here. And like you said, Orangeburg, South Carolina, all 61 years will have been in Orangeburg, South Carolina at the Orangeburg County Fairgrounds this year. So same old place everybody's familiar with. They know exactly when to go and where to go, and that kind of makes it easy on people to plan it out ahead of time, I think.
Yeah, it's almost always the first full weekend. If the first falls on Friday, then it's the following because of deer season. So it's like every 7 years we run into that issue that we have to back up one weekend. But we do that because so much of the guide territory and stuff is on those plantations and stuff that they can't get on until after deer season. So it's like every 7 years, we run into that.
Yeah, and it's it's just hard to believe that it's already here. We're talking, your deadline to enter is today as we're recording that December 10th. We're recording today's your deadline already, and it just comes by so quickly. Seems we get done with Autumn Oaks, then it's the World Championship and some other stuff, and boom, here we are already.
Yeah.
But
I've probably for the last 2 days I've probably had about 30 phone calls a day, and matter of fact, I just thought about putting my phone on vibrate just now because I seen one pop up. People are calling, last minute. Everybody waits till the last minute to send those entries in. So,
have you? How has your mail been? Do you pay much attention to the stamps on there as far as when are you having issues with mail and not getting them or taking longer?
I really don't start looking at them, Alan, until tomorrow. I did notice one that I did last night. It was like 2 days ago, so it's typically 3 days. And like Trevor and I were talking about before we got started, is I'll probably get several next week that will be good. They'll
Yeah.
be postmarked the 10th.
Yeah.
Hopefully by next year we're going to have the kinks worked out of this online process, so we can do it online and make it easier
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that sure eliminates it eliminates any mail issues you might have. It seemed like, in the last couple of years now, most of everything we do now, Autumn Oaks Winter Classic, I guess the World Championship, did we take some mail-in entries for it this year still, Trevor?
We did, and we're making the change to make it all online only as well. Same with
Yeah.
TOC. So
Yeah, and that's for you think those are big events we're talking about, but they've worked very well. And once the deadline's up, as soon as if you do it that way, you don't have to sit around and wait any longer. We used to do the same thing for Autumn Oaks and Winter Classic. You have to still wait for another week or so to catch all the remaining entries that might be coming in. But hey, it's a little different, to use the online stuff. And you have guys that aren't as handy with that, but for us, they can still call us and enter that way, But I think most people anymore, if they can't do it online, they'll have buddies that can help them get their dogs entered, and they'll find a way to get it done.
Yeah, we've got everything set up. It's just going through the process of getting it set up through the bank has been
Oh yeah,
been an
yeah,
issue. So,
yeah,
because we wanted to tie it to a separate account just as
yeah,
a
yeah,
safety precaution. So
yeah,
that's been just a nightmare with the paperwork and everything.
yeah,
So
yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
we're getting there.
yeah, yeah.
I had one entry last year, and Trevor may remember this, but the guy was from New York. Sent his entry in, and it got lost in the mail. And you have to kind of take some of that with a little bit of precaution. But I told him, I said, he said, I'm coming regardless. I'll pay the money. And I actually got his entry in the mail the day before I left to go to the Grand American, and it was postmarked like December the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So he got there, and we made it right. But yeah, that one was very strange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they can get set back pretty good depending on what some of the major hubs they go through. I think. And
Yeah.
You get up there in the bigger cities, you can really see some delays. I think. But
Yeah, and that's I always try to make sure we accommodate. If some if because I'll have probably 4 or 5 that would be postmarked the 11th or 12th that I'll wind up sending back. I hate to do that, but our deadline is the deadline, and um, I'll tell them, you can come and enter on the grounds, but I can't take your entry if it's not postmarked by the 10th.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's always kind of been a thing for us too, especially with major events. And you're right. It just seems like it's kind of customary, almost too common. Everybody kind of waits till the last couple days, and then you run into some of that. And it seems like we always get some after the deadline's up. Hey, can you help me out here and there? But and it stinks sometimes to have to turn them away. But really. I think, David, you can speak on this, and there's a good reason for having deadlines and sticking with them, because there's the next step that starts happening, and if you can't, if you can't stay on tap with everything, or on course, I guess, so to speak, why it messes up other things. You got to move forward, and there's reasons for all that, and easier to see and say maybe when you're in our positions or whatever, when we move on to that next step, and it's all part of good organization, I always feel like. But
Yes.
for the most part, I think people are pretty good about it. And the other thing I really, really like that we have actually adopted basically since you guys started. You were like the first ones to start doing walk-up entries, and we've started doing the same now. And that's a good way to do it for somebody that didn't or couldn't enter or what have you, that they can still do it on the day of the event, and it works out, so that's been a good thing.
Definitely. I had a lady call me last night from Indiana. She was hesitant about sending her entry because of the weather. She said, I don't want to send it and us get snowed in or whatever and can't make it and lose $100. And I said, well, you can wait until you get there and enter. She said, well, that's why I was calling. I wanted to ask about what were the chances of being put on a waiting list and not get to hunt or whatever. And I know I'm jumping ahead of one of Trevor's questions, but he had wrote down. But we've never turned anybody back. Everyone has always got to hunt, and the issue I have is more guides than we have hunters, so which is a blessing for sure. But we've never turned anybody away, and I don't see that happening anytime soon because got enough guys to hunt 400 dogs a night.
That's a good problem to have. Better than being on the shoe being on the other foot for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I figure we kind of break it down here. First, we'll talk about the night hunts a little bit. You got 2 night hunts going on over the weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Like you talked about, by the time this gets out to the airwaves, the pre-entry portion of it's over. Pre-entries close on December 10th. But you have the walk-up possibility. Haven't had to turn away anyone yet, so that's a great deal. You don't have to fret about driving down there and not getting to hunt. It's going to be a $70 entry fee, which is just $25 more than it would have been if you pre-entered, so it's not a bad deal. One thing I would like you to talk about a little bit, because it's something that we get some questions on, and that's about people who are wanting to come and enter and guide also, but they're from out of state, guys from Georgia, North Carolina, who have friends around. And can you kind of explain how that process works a little bit?
Yeah, we use a group of clubs that is actually what makes the Grand American, and the clubs supply the guides, and in lieu of that, we give out shares for the guides and the people working on the grounds and stuff, and that's how the clubs get compensated for their help. So we're very selective on making sure that the guides are from the clubs, and we do have a couple of clubs that are on the border of North Carolina and one on Georgia that do have a few members from out of state belong to those clubs. Those guys will be able to guide, but if you're from Indiana and you got a buddy in South Carolina that's got a big group of land that he says you can hunt, we just can't do it because it caused conflicts years ago when we used to actually have people would pay people to guide them and stuff. So we had a lot of complaints and issues with that, and probably 20 years ago, the board made a decision that we wouldn't use any out-of-state guides just to eliminate that issue. And I still have people, and some of them are good friends, call and say, man, I've got a place I can hunt, and I'll be, I'll do right and everything, and I have no doubt, but unfortunately, I'm the one that has to tell them no because I'm the one that has got to be the one to enforce the rules, and if we all go by the rules, then it's a whole lot better for everybody. So we just don't allow nobody from out of state, except for the exception for those 2 clubs.
Yeah, and I think you've been real consistent on that. I've been in the rooms a few times where you had to explain that to people, and they typically, after you explain it to them, they understand how it works, and consistency's key. That's what it's all about, and that's how you get people to come back year over year. Is not switching things up and making exceptions for people. Just be consistent in what you're doing, and people appreciate that at the end of the day, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can dispute that or argue that, or even, it's some people like to guide. I get it. They have friends that maybe have a place where they'd like to go to and this and that. But I like how I don't think a lot of people realize, especially not from that aren't from around your area, how you have it set up with your network of clubs all networking and working together. They all have stake in the Grand American. It's just not just one club or whatever. It's how many clubs is that, David? 4 or 5?
We actually have 19.
Ooh,
Yeah, we have 19 clubs that are members of the Grand American. Probably 10 of them supply guides, and the other 9 take care of the administrative stuff, working the grounds, and all that type of stuff. But yeah, there's 19 clubs in the association.
Has it always kind of been set up like that for a long time already, or?
Yes, it's been that way. I know as long back as I've been involved with it, which is 30-something years, it's been that way.
Alan, I know we both have new Dogra Pathfinder 2s. How are you liking yours so far?
I'm liking it. I've even had the opportunity now to use mine where I didn't have service, where I download the map of that area, and it works flawlessly. Love it.
I agree. I really like my Dogra Pathfinder 2 as well. I've used it quite a bit the past few months. I really like the crystal clear maps. I like that it doesn't lose service very much, and I don't have many bad things to say about it at all. Dogra Pathfinder 2, the official GPS collar partner of UKC. Well, when we talk about some times for people to know, so if you pre-entered and you have some changes to make, we'll be doing that. I assume I'll probably be back there in the back room with you, helping out with some changes on Friday and Saturday, and that'll be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I know early a lot of your clubs will come in there and get all their all your hunting guides switched over, and then about 11 o'clock, 11 to 1, you start taking your walk-ups and then confirming your pre-entries who don't have changes. So that's whenever the hustle and bustle starts in that building. It gets a little busy in there during that time period from about 10 to 1.
Yes. The guides come in, and we have a club rep. He comes in and confirms all of his guides and makes sure everything is right on the paperwork and all for them, so that they don't have to stand in line and confirm out there outside when we do start taking the entries. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is it's a courtesy to our guides. Biggest thing is it's a confirmation for us. We know those guys are hunting, so we don't have any last minute hiccups. Wait until we get everything drawed and ready, and then somebody says, this guy's sick, or his dog is injured and he's not going to be able to guide. So it eliminates that problem up front. So if we do have an issue, we can take care of it ahead of time instead of waiting to the last minute.
Yeah. Hey, David, I would interject here a little bit for those. I'm sure you get some new people that have never been to the Grand American before, and maybe haven't been to like our Autumn Oaks, and the process is similar to where they have to confirm their entry. Although they've mailed their entry in to you, that doesn't mean they're going to be in the hunt. Because I guess you do like we do. If they don't confirm, meaning get in line and let you know, say, hey, I'm here, and my entry is this number, yada yada. If I don't do that, then you're going to pull me out of the draw. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's why I need to, on top of sending my entry in, when I get there between the hours of 11 and 1 p.m. each day that I'm going to hunt, I have to confirm my entry.
Right, and my wife sends out a confirmation card to every hunter entered, and it's on there in bold print.
Yeah.
You must confirm between 11 and 1 each day. So don't want anybody saying, "Well, I didn't know." So.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get a pretty long line, but it seems like, especially in the last 3-4 years, it seems like those lines really move pretty fast. You've got a good crew there, and they do it year after year, and they move that line pretty fast.
Yes, they do. And once we, started taking entries on the grounds, the first year we just had one lady on that line, and since it has grown so much, we actually have two now working there. So, because that line right now is the longest one.
Yeah, and usually
It's
usually the lines you're talking about, one is maybe for what is it, registered hunting each night, and the other's for champions and grands. Is that
hmm
what they look for?
Well, we do ours by numbers. We
Oh, by
go one
numbers.
through 100, and then 101 through 200 on entries that way.
Okay,
Not
so
based on champion or
there
registered
there you
class.
go. So by entry numbers. So
Right.
so yeah, if I have a dog entered, I want to know what my entry number is so I can get in the right line. And, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you said that walk-up line's the biggest. It's pretty close. The ATM line also can get pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
I'd like to have that ATM machine in there.
I just want a
And
percentage.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying on it.
That's we get like 2 cents on the dollar or something like that. But
Oh yeah.
this was the first year, or last year was the first year for this company, and they came, put them out on Thursday, and by midday Friday they were having to come put more money in them. So, and then they filled them up again Saturday
Yeah.
morning. So
Hey, so that's noteworthy. That's something you don't see at most coon hunts is an ATM machine, but you guys definitely you have one there, and you plan on having it again this year, right?
yes, sir. Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go. There you go.
Again, it's just a convenience, for the people on the grounds.
Yeah.
I'm sure it charges a fee, but obviously it hasn't deterred anybody because, like Trevor said, that line is long.
No, I
Is
don't
it?
think it's turning many people away.
Hey, while we're
No,
talking about it, is it the only one you have there is just the one in the hunt headquarters, or do you have
no,
them
no.
elsewhere?
There's another one over by the main outside the main building.
Okay.
So there's two of them on the grounds.
You're talking the main building over there, the vendor barn, the
Right,
round vendor barn out there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yep.
big long barn.
Yep. Now that you say that, I think I remember seeing
Yeah.
that out there. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the hunt format. Obviously, when I think about Grand American, and even before I started here, when I look in the magazines and everything, the top 20 at the Grand American each night is kind of a big deal. If you ever made it in the top 20, that's the thing first and foremost that you're shooting for. And I don't know, I was kind of curious myself. I went back to the last couple of years to see what the cutoff was each night to get into the top 20. This past year in 2024, 375 each night was the cutoff for the top 20. In 2023, 350 on Friday, 325 on Saturdays. So it's not a couple coons and stay out of trouble, and you can get in the top 20. And the top 20, you guys have got it now to where they're getting a pretty significant payout for making it into that top 20.
Yeah, yeah. We several years back we went up from $25 to $30, and we took that $5 and put it toward the top 20. And then when we decided 2 years ago to go to 50, so there's $25 off of each entry goes back to the top 25. And the way it works out, if we've got 350 entries, then the top 20 is getting $350. So last year, we had 26 double cast winners. So those guys walked away with just a little shy of $600 for those two cast wins. It put them in the top 20.
Yeah.
So
That's
even though they didn't make the final four, they still got a pretty good payout for the weekend. Um, so that's not bad.
Now that it doesn't matter if you were where you landed, so long as you were in the top 20. It's not like 10th got more than 20th, right? It's all
No,
everybody got the same. If you're in the
it's
top 20,
everybody gets the same amount.
same amount.
Yeah.
I don't think that was. I wasn't aware of. Well, I guess I was, but I don't think a lot of hunters were really aware of that and how much that actually is. Until I think in the last couple of years they've kind of taken more notice. I'm glad we can talk about that a little bit and hopefully spread the word a little bit because that draws some hunters in. It really does, and it's been a good thing for you. It seems like the hunters
I,
love it.
yeah, I think so. And yeah, the first couple of years everybody was like, "Man, I wasn't expecting this. I didn't know I was going to get anything else." So I think word's getting out there now about that, and and like I said, if you finish 20th or if you finish first, you're getting the same thing. So I think it's fair to everybody, and it's the easiest way, to do it instead of trying to divide the money any other way or whatever. Just divide it equally between all 20 of them, because
Yeah, yeah,
um, we appreciate everybody coming, and uh,
yeah.
we try to give something back to the hunters as much as we can, because
And
unfortunately we're not like y'all. We don't have as much overhead as you do, so we can't afford to try to give some of it back to them, and still have enough to divide some between the clubs.
yeah, and that is, just to be clear, that is each night, a top 20 each night, Friday and Saturday.
That's correct. And plus the top four each night. I cannot remember exactly how much, but it was like first place was an additional $500 from some of our local sponsors, and then second place and third and fourth
Yeah.
was prorated down. And we've already got those guys that have committed for coming back this coming year as well with that money. So we'll be doing that again. So first place, just say 350 dogs. You may walk away with $800, and so not
Do you guys
bad.
still do? Do you guys still do trophies?
Yes, yeah, we still do the trophies as well, and that's the trophies in the fairgrounds are our two biggest expenses. Trophies are over $12,000, and then the fairground is 18,000 and something. So, over 30,000 just for those two things to right out of the gate. So,
Yeah, it seems
yeah,
trophies is something that is just like everything else. Everything has went up a lot, but it seems trophies has went up a whole lot, just even in the last
it's
10 years.
crazy. They've
Yeah,
they've went up about $4,000 in the last 4 years.
yeah, yeah,
And we've talked about going to some smaller ones or something different, and I guess um, what we finally decided was, as long as we're still able to have enough to give to the clubs that help put it on, that they're okay with it, and if I'm talking somewhere around $100 a share for those guys, we're going to continue with giving away the nice trophies and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And
Sometimes we talk, we look back at what entry fees used to be, and I first started hunting, in the early 90s basically, and from best I can remember, sometimes you go to an event where the entry fee might have been $10, but for the most that I can remember was $15 was the least. And if you think about that's been 20 years now, 20, actually 25, actually closer to about 25 years, and really the cost of everything else has went up a lot more than it seems like our entry fees have. Our
yeah,
entry fees haven't really kept up with the rising cost of inflation and such either, So we're talking, an entry fee for an event like this, and especially when you're that top 20 we just talked about, that is still a very respectable entry fee for it, considering even at $50.
I think so.
It is.
For the amount of prizes and the cash return and stuff, I think, you know, naturally, if you don't win your cast or whatever, I mean, you may not feel that way, but, if you make the top 20, it's not only, just like Trevor said, it is the prestige of making that, when you're talking about an average of 80 something casts a night, to make the top 20 is pretty significant.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday nights, you got the whole gang in there, and as casts are rolling in, you guys are working on spreadsheets, keeping up with your double cast winners, and the top four highest scoring double cast winners will go back out late on Saturday night for that overall Grand American crown.
Yes, that's I, I guess it's just, you say, the icing on top of the cake for us to be able to send those dogs back out there, and man, we appreciate you going out there with them every year, and Alan, I know you've done it, and you like me, that gray is starting to show in your beard there. That's I can't keep up with them no more. Uh,
Yeah.
I tried years ago, and I wound up just sitting in the swamp waiting on them. So I stay at the fairgrounds anymore. But
Yeah.
it's you can just feel the excitement in the air when it starts getting close to deadline, and one of us is walking out and saying the cutoff right now for is 350, and then it goes up, and then it goes up, and then it goes up, and then when I get to walk out there and say, all right, this is my final four, I need you in the office, and call those out, and um, that part there to me is as close as the way that regular hunts used to be years ago, when everybody hung around to see who won, and everybody was clapping and congratulating them and everything. And um, we've gotten away from that at the local hunts per se. And to me, I mean, that's just a big thing. And even when the cast goes out, there'll still be 100 people sitting around in there waiting on them to come back. Um,
Yeah.
I just, man, I get excited thinking about it.
Yeah, you're exactly right, David. The sport has kind of gotten away from some of that from especially at the local club maybe, but you're right, and there's still a lot of excitement. Our World Championship is kind of the same way, and I know just this year at the Winter Classic, I sat there and talked to a couple of guys that haven't hunted in some of our hunts in a while, but those are some of the things that they notice, that is, this is just fun again, to come back and sit around and listen to people's stories and their hunts and this and that, and it's good that we still have events that bring that, and the Grand American is definitely one of those, and there's a lot of people sitting around talking, and looking to see who's going to get in, and it's that apprehension, it's that it's that you got to sitting on a decent score, and you can just hope. You just don't know till David comes walking out, makes that announcement. But yeah, and you they know too. When that door opens up and David walks out, they know that it's they pay attention right away.
Well, and I think y'all are getting that with your tournament of champions too. You're seeing that with the dinner y'all are doing and everything, and I like that. I like bringing back that aspect to the hunts and stuff that has fell by the wayside.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. It's yeah.
Yeah, love that buzz in the air whenever I walk in there late on that Saturday night, and it'll perk you up. I could be dragging a little bit and walk in there, and it's buzzing, and you can feel the tension, and people are nervous, pacing around, and it's exciting. I look forward to that. So, last couple of years, you guys, obviously, the prize package has been growing. You got the payouts that are growing. Entries have been steadily rising the past couple of years. I think we've covered the hunt here pretty well. Dale Weatherford and John Sapier, they've been master of hounds ever since I started. Are they going to be heading the ship again this year?
They will be. They will be. Talked with both of them a couple of weeks ago just to confirm it. But yes, they'll be in the office again, and they're taking care of all the little questions and stuff that come along, and all the things behind the scenes. Checking the scorecards. We have a system when they come in. Not just one person looks at that scorecard, but 3 people look at it before it's finally approved and put into the computer, into the spreadsheet. So there's a lot goes on in the office that most people, other than people like you and I, and that are in there, and a few that know what goes on. So much work goes on behind the scenes at any big event that people don't realize.
Yeah.
Those guys
comes in handy. Yeah, it comes in handy having some officials who have done that year over year and know what to expect. I know South Carolina's a little different. They require statistics on coons scored and counties hunted and things like that. So having somebody who's familiar with that and has that process down probably helps a lot. Not
Yeah.
Hopefully both of them have their tasers and pepper spray ready. But no, I'm just kidding. That's
Hey, you
know,
mentioned.
they'll have, especially on rule change years, because that's the first event after the rule changes. They get hammered pretty good, but by the second year, it's not nowhere near as much. And um, most of the questions, the three of us know if the people would turn the scorecard over and read it, the answer's there for most every situation. You run into something strange every once in a while, but most everything is there.
Yeah, and really, you don't have it. To me, it seems like we don't get as many questions as we did maybe years ago. It doesn't seem like, but I think it helps if you have in your judge selection too, and because oftentimes the good judges, the better judges, they also know
Yeah.
how to deal with things out there to avoid a lot of that. And sometimes when the questions come up, that they can resolve them out there, they don't come back in. But hey, I always say
Mm.
questions aren't always a bad thing. You do want to get it right, but the biggest thing I always try to ask hunters, and I think most of them, if you really ask them and uh, you respect the hunters. Hey, that's what we all of us are, and I feel like they're also respectful of us most of the time. And you ask them just to
Yeah,
be reasonable,
that's
and
true.
and
And
and I
one
think
thing
most
that
of them are when you yeah.
I've always encouraged Dale and John both, because both of them come up, under me, and I used to sit in there with them, and I try not to anymore. But uh, I encourage them to, when you make your decision, turn the scorecard over and show them the rule, and this is why you're doing it, and this is here. And most people, like I said, are receptive because you know, look, we all can read things and get different interpretations out of them sometimes, and we need that one person to explain it. And I think the Master of Hounds do a real good job of that, not just at our event, but at all the major events, because you know to, you're not going to put just anybody there. It's someone that you feel comfortable that knows the rules, but also knows how to apply them, and that's the big part of it. Is because situations that you run into when you're hunting, uh, if you just took the scorecard and read it and thought you could go, no, no, you cannot. You've got to have that experience behind it, and that's where that experience comes in. Is uh, when the guy comes in with a question, you know what he's talking about, because a lot of times you've been there and done that.
Yeah,
So
no, that's true. That's true. Hey, one other question, David, I wanted to ask you before I forget. So the North Carolina and surrounding states, I guess north of you there, they had the weather going through there, the hurricanes and such. You didn't have any effects of that in around Orangeburg, did you?
oh yes, oh
Oh, you
yes, we
did.
did.
Okay.
Yes, yes, we've had actually Hurricane Helene and the one Milton. Both of those hit us pretty hard.
Okay. I guess.
Not like Hugo, but
Okay.
we do have a good bit of down trees and stuff that some of the places that I hunt right now, just they're just too bad to go in. And we actually about a month ago over around Norway, man, they got like 16 inches of rain in a day, washed out some
Ooh.
bridges, washed out some roads and stuff. So those are things that our guides will be dealing with, but they've got plenty of time. They're already making plans for it and stuff. But some of the woods are gonna have some blowdown in them.
More, yeah. Is it at this time of the year? So we're at the time we're recording this, the 10th of December here. Can you already kind of get a good idea of what the water levels might look like here? The first week of
I,
January, a little bit.
I was telling Trevor earlier. Right now they look good. We have not had the amount of rain that we've had for the last 2 years.
Okay.
So right now they look good.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, well, good. What about roads? I know we learned from Helen and some of those going through like Interstate 40, I-40. That road got tore up pretty good, did it not?
It did.
What are those
And
roadways looking like?
I don't think I-40 is 100% open. I think parts of it is still one lane in parts of North Carolina and Tennessee. Um, so, um, good thing is if you're using the app on your phone or Garmin, uh, whatever, most of them have those detours already in them and stuff, so you won't get tied up in those things. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, if I was coming from far off, I think I would look and make it, make sure um, that you know, maybe adding a couple hours to your trip.
yeah. Or maybe even consider kind of look at it and maybe even consider an alternate route, maybe, or kind of
Yeah,
look what you're looking at before you just go your normal. See, because
yep,
Interstate 40, that's the one out of Knoxville. That's what we would use, But
yeah,
no,
yeah. Y'all may want to. Like I said, I just seen something on the news uh, other week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that one lane they had got one lane open on one part of it that had washed out. So I'm sure it's not back 100%.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the road is still open. You can still 40. It's not like
Yeah,
it's closed
yeah.
off
Now
completely. Yeah,
instead of doing 35 miles an hour, you'll do 15.
yeah, 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 yeah.
As long as you got a good dry spot for that final, that'll be fine.
Oh man, I'm telling you, they gonna look out for you.
Yeah.
They
Hey,
always
They
they all,
do.
have.
you know, that's one thing, sometimes you hear about, South hunting in South Carolina, that's kind of, especially somebody that not from there, they talk about some of the water you might get into, this and that, and I've been on a lot of Final Fours too, and I have just never seen that until one time. I finally did one time out of those, however many there were, but outside of that, and I know, for that Final Four, you got a pretty nice spot, and that's usually not an
Yeah,
issue there.
yeah,
But yeah,
and you know what they say about the best laid plans. When you turn those four dogs loose,
yeah,
you don't know which way they're going.
you don't know where you're gonna end up. That's right.
No,
Yeah,
no. And
yeah,
the biggest thing that I think we've had to contend with up until this past one was the temperature. I
yeah.
mean, this year it wasn't that bad, but I mean, man, it's been down in the single digits a couple of times when they
Yeah.
went back out.
Oh yeah, I've
It's
been there
cold.
plenty enough times when it was cold.
Yeah.
No, yeah. You never know what you're gonna get, January. It could be 70, or might be 30.
Yep. That's it. I've been there when it's like I said 70 degrees, and I've been there when it's 10 inches of snow on the ground. So
Yeah.
you don't never know.
Hey, that late round hunt we're talking about Sunday morning there after late round Saturday. That is a 1 hour hunt, is it not? The hunt off
Correct.
itself, 1 hour.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think it's a good time maybe to shift gears over to the bench show, talk about them a little bit.
Yeah. Unless
Um,
David, do you have anything else
oh,
to say about the hunt or any part of that while you got the chance here?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. The biggest thing that I did want to go over was the top 20 awards and stuff, and uh, to get that word out there to everyone, because one of the driving factors that we had on that was when we went to double cast winners. Uh, a lot of people didn't hunt on Saturday night if they didn't win their cast on Friday because they felt like there was nothing in it for them. So since we have went to paying this money out to the top 20, the number of no shows on Saturday night has fell way off, way off.
Yeah.
good
I
idea.
think,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
Trevor, you may remember, I'm gonna say it was less than 20. It was not a whole lot.
There wasn't a lot of fall off the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that has helped because it gives
Yeah.
you a little bit more something to
Yeah.
hunt for.
Hey, and before Trevor moves us on, steers the ship into the next channel here, We mentioned rules just so folks aren't confused. Oftentimes we talk about rules because anytime we have rule changes, the Grand American is always the first one where those new rules get put into play.
Yeah.
But folks should know we now do 5 years in between rules, and the last rule change was in 2023, right, Trevor?
That's right.
So it'll be several years. So there are no new rule changes or anything like that. So hopefully nobody thought that, but yeah. Not until 2028, I think.
That's right. That's right.
Read the ones we have, and let's go by those for a couple more years here.
That's right. Let's use them.
Yeah, use them. Yeah.
All right. Now I think we're safe to wander over to the show building here. And I did recognize you guys didn't take any pre-entries for the bench show this year, so it's going to be all day of show entries. Start taking them about 8 a.m. there in the Bates building, and the deadline to enter is 10 a.m. In the Bates building, if you don't know, you got the Hunt building is the first one there on the right as you come through the gate. Well, there's actually a dog building there, I guess, there, but it's the Hunt building, the dog barn, and then it's the show building, and you'll know there'll be a bunch of people standing around there early in the morning like that, but $30 entry fee for the show this year, so I think day of show entries work just fine at an event like that.
Yeah. We tried the advanced entries, and we did those for $25. Did it for 2 years, I think, but Danielle said that she really didn't think that it was worth it. She didn't get that many, maybe eight or 10. So we just decided to alleviate that process, and it's one less thing that she has to take care of. And for most everybody knows Danielle Champ from West Virginia takes care of our shows. She is our coordinator and has been for quite a few years, and does a really great job of running that show. I'm over there usually for opening ceremonies, and then don't get back most days, and I have. After we get all the dogs and everything, get all of them cast out, I have tried to go back by there sometime, but they do a great job. Her and Gary and Tiffany Smarisol usually helps her, and then we have a few locals that are over there with them as well. But man, I don't worry about that part of the event.
Yeah, and that's nice to have people like that. The term that I think of when you're talking about people like that in places that you don't have to worry about, that just do an excellent job, is kind of put your aces in places, I guess, and that's nice too, when you can you kind of got to delegate everything. There's a lot to take care of when you're that person that you are, David, but you have good people like that in place, and boy, that really makes a difference, and it helps. And you're right, Danielle and Gary and all of those involved over there, we can see that they're doing a great job with it.
Absolutely. I've always believed in, and was told a long time ago that the indication of a success for a good leader is a good people that are part of his team. And I don't try to say that they work for me or whatever, because we are a team, and that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I try to treat all of them. And I do have a great team, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she requested the bench show entry cards and stuff, and we just put them in the mail today for her, so hopefully she'll have those in the next couple of days. So, yeah.
Good.
One change you guys made a couple years ago, back in 2021, I think it was, if I'm looking at the entry history, was instead of running one show over 2 days, you decided to do a separate show each day. And man, I know that's a lot of hard work. That's a lot of dogs, 2 very long days over the course of the weekend. But you talked about some of the expenses you guys have, renting the fairground, the awards and prizes, trophies, and that sort of thing. And if you're able to double your show entries, that helps a lot, and that has made that show just it's grown the prestige of it, I think, incrementally in the past few years. Just made it such a big deal if you can make it through that gauntlet of that 2-day show.
Yeah, because both of y'all know a lot of times on Saturday the youth show is still going on after dark. But yeah, I mean, Danielle came with that idea that that's what she wanted to do, and it's like you know what it takes, and it's your call. And she said, well, I think we can do better if we go back to doing, because we used 2 years ago it was two separate shows, and we went to just doing the one. But yeah, I like doing the two. Gives everybody a better opportunity, and a different look under two different judges. So it seems to be doing well. Um, I think the biggest thing that hurts us with the show a lot of times is the weather. A lot of people, you know, because you're not as committed, you haven't sent your money in, like for the hunt. So I think a lot of times that it does affect our turnout for the show.
Yeah, and it could be anything, but you have it all under roof and everything like that, so folks that haven't been there or whatever, it is all inside, it's just,
Yeah,
it's not
it is.
I don't think it's temperature controlled in there, but you can close the doors and everything. It's inside a building, obviously.
Yeah, there's two oil heaters in there, but no.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish we had a better place for the show, and they've actually talked about building a new building out where the old racetrack used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully one day
Yeah.
that comes to fruition, and
Yeah.
maybe we can move the show to there.
Yeah, hey, not to segue away from here, but you're talking about out there at the other. They removed that big hill, and I remember my first times going to the Grand American. One of the first things I noticed, all these kids on cardboards, going down the hill sliding down the hill on cardboards, and wouldn't you know it,
Yes.
just this week we got an email. This guy asking if they still do that at the Grand American. He's bringing his grandboys down there this year and wanted to know that's one thing he remembered about the Grand American. That's what he wanted for his grandboys to be able to do. But
My kids, my grandkids, and my wife have all slid down the hill.
I think I have too. I know I have, but not when I was a kid. But I was a big kid. But yeah.
Yeah.
But they took those hills out of there, so there's no more of that there, I guess.
No, that was one of those nostalgic moments. If everybody was kind of like, well, we can use the room, but man, we hated to see the hill go.
Yeah. Hey, I used to like to go up there on that hill on Saturday morning about 10, 11 o'clock and just look around there, because you could see a long ways over top of the buildings and just see all the vehicles and the mass crowd and
Yeah.
vehicles parked up the road for, a long ways. Not talking a couple hundred yards. We're talking, nearly up into town, close to McDonald's. They'd park up alongside the road, and it's just amazing to see how many people pile into that fairgrounds like that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of good photos taken from on top of that hill there.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, now someone sent me one a couple of years ago. They had taken with a drone, I think, and it was like an 18 by 20 or something. I got it hanging in my office. It shows that had to be on Saturday, 'cause, I mean, as far as you can see, there's cars everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
people look like ants, working in the.
Yeah. Well, a couple things I did want to mention for the show. Looks like by me reading the ad here, you will have a dual class and a pairs class in each day of the show. And we can go ahead and mention your judges. You have them on your Facebook page. It's been on there for a while, your official Grand American Facebook page, which you guys do an awesome job on, by the way. But on Friday, the bench show judge is going to be Carol Phillips. And on Saturday, the judge is going to be Lori Mills.
Yep, two very good judges, and I've known Carol and Laura both for many years, and have no doubt that they will do an outstanding job.
Yeah, they've judged a lot of shows, and it's throughout the years, and we've used both of them on the a lot of major events. Some of our bigger events, Autumn Oaks Winter Class, or
Yeah.
World, actually, for both of them have already judged the World. I'm thinking, I know Lori did, but yeah, good judges.
And then there's also some opportunities for some youth to show against other youth there. I did see Saturday you have what you call the free kiddie bench show, and that's for kids that are under 12 years old, and that's just kind of a free, non-licensed, kind of fun photo op type of opportunity for kids and parents. Get out there and take pictures of your kids, getting a good practice for somebody. Get out there, no stakes on the line. You just get out there around a bunch of people and dogs, and that's a good practice and learning experience for you. And then also on Saturday, you have the actual UKC licensed youth bench show, and you alluded to it a little bit earlier. The deadline to enter is 10 a.m. Same entry time, 8 to 10 a.m., $20 entry fee for the youth show, and it does happen after the regular show, and sometimes that can be pretty late in the evening. We're talking 5, 6, 7 o'clock that thing is ending.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it's a good thing to see because you had a real great turnout. But I know if you're one of those youth handlers, I mean that's a long time to wait around. But the good thing is a lot of them are starting to show in the adult shows and stuff as well that have started, and you see a lot more of them. They get 2 opportunities for the weekend. I mean that they can actually show 3 times if they want. So it's a lot of good experience for them, and I think it's great to have a youth show with this magnitude at an event like this where they can watch some of the other handlers, and we all know that if they ask questions, there's not a person there that's not going to help them, not going to do what they can to further them along and their show. So they're going to help them any way they can, and that's what to me is so great about especially that side of the sport is the willingness of the older guys and gals to help everyone younger coming along. And when I say younger, I mean you may 40 years old and decide you want to start showing. They're going to help you. Now when you get in the ring with them, they're going to do their best to beat you. But outside the ring, they're going to help you any way they can, and I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, David, you've been very involved with kids programs for a long time, and I'm sure you would say, sitting back and just kind of seeing where we've came with what these programs have done and how valuable they have been and imperative they've been. It's very satisfying and gratifying to see not only how many more kids we have involved in today's world as opposed to even 25, 30 years ago or what have you, but what they can do. Some of those younger kids that you're talking about showing dogs, some of those kids 12, 14, 15 years old are excellent handlers already.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mom.
I've
my
always,
granddaughter.
Yeah, and I've always thought bench shows are a great way for kids. I don't care, boys, even if you just like to hunt. But in shows, you learn to really spend more one-on-one, hands-on time with a dog that I think is very valuable. That they learn so much from that.
When I was showing and competing both, my dog handled so much better because I spent so much time with him, other than just taking him to the woods and cutting him loose and going hunting. You got to spend that time, and the dog learns you, and you learn the dog so much more when you are doing both. And yeah, I agree 100%, Alan. That's the youth has grown so much. I said my granddaughter started showing when she was 10. Now she'll be 20 this coming February, and she's second year of college, so she's not getting to show right now. But she's got a dog here at the house now, and she said I'm not going to be able to show him this year at the Grand American, but he will be there. She said I'm going to take him and expose him to it. So I just love to see the mountain. I wished that I had the opportunity to come over and watch a part of the youth show especially. Uh, but the kiddie show, I do get to do a part of it, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's still
yeah,
fun. Man, that's
yeah.
fun.
Good
Yeah, I was
stuff.
kind of looking through the history of the youth bench show, and best I can tell through our I series, and I hope I'm not wrong here, but it looks like it started around 2018. That first year looked like there was 23 entries, and now you look at the past several years, and your guys are routinely up in the 40s and 50s. So
Yeah,
that just shows you that the participation's growing there.
yeah, yeah. And I would love to see it get to 50 or more, but still, those 30 or 40 are some of the cream of the crop. I mean, there's some pretty tough handlers in that group.
Yeah, I
Well,
actually just double checked. The past 2 years, Jacob Brooks has won the youth show at the Grand American with his dog Dusty Rhodes. This year, he
Hmm.
will not be winning it because his mother, Leslie Brooks, is going to be the judge. So
Right.
uh, somebody new is going to be taking home the title this year.
Yeah. Wasn't my choice. I didn't pick the judge. So,
hey, that's not a bad.
no,
She wasn't a bad candidate for that. Her boy won it the last 2 years. So yeah, I don't think they're probably not feeling too sorry for Jacob right now that he can't
no,
show in it.
no.
I, I
And
believe.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I believe Jordan's the one who's probably mad at her mom for taking it. Say, this was my year this year.
Yeah, I was just fixing to say I can remember um, Jordan being in the kiddie show, and now she's showing. Um, I was going through some old photos last year, and Leslie had actually sent me a picture of me and Jordan, me squatting down, giving her the trophy and stuff at the Grand American a long time ago. But now now she's competing and winning and stuff. When she was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 then.
Yeah.
Alan, you've been feeding Eukanuba dog feed for a while now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have, and I've really been able to put my beagles to the test, mainly running snowshoe hare up north where they run the hardest, where I put 15, 20, 25 miles on them easily in a day. And I've found that the premium performance sport has really paid dividends. Mainly, I noticed their stamina.
Yeah, same feed that I've been feeding. I think my dog looks good on it. He's really feeling good and less kennel cleanup for me, so I highly recommend it as well.
Eukanuba, the official performance dog nutrition partner of UKC.
Well,
Well, I guess we can. Do you have any final thoughts on the bench show before we move on to some small pointers and things here for topics to talk about?
Again, I just appreciate the work that the ones over there do, and appreciate everybody coming and being a part of it all. It's like a big family reunion, and I do wish that I was able to spend a little bit more time over there with some of my friends and stuff, but I just don't have that time. But
We
it is a great event.
we understand that for sure.
Yeah, I
Put a
know
lot of
you
effort
two
into the
do.
bench shows and miss about every one of them we're at. So
Yeah.
it's just part of it.
Well, I'm so thankful for Danielle and Gary for everything that they do, taking care of it. I mean, you know, they're there on Thursday, setting everything up, getting everything ready, and then they're there all day Friday and Saturday. And I try to remember and told some of the other guys, look, we got to make sure we get them something to eat because the first year they were over there, I mean, they didn't. I don't know if they just wasn't thinking about it or whatever, but they went all day without eating, and it's easy to do because I do it about every year and I don't realize it. But I try to make sure we check on them a couple of times throughout the day, and have gotten where we started leaving a radio up there with them so they can get in touch with us if they need anything. But it's just a phenomenal group.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Real quick, we'll talk on the treeing contest. There where we're at the table, seem to get a lot of people coming up about the treeing contest, and that's always fun to look out our side door there and see the big group around the big tree out there. And you have two treeing contests on Friday and Saturday at 1:00 is the deadline. $5 entry fee, and do they just enter out there at the tree? Just need to be at the tree before 1:00. Is that how that works?
Yes, they enter out there at the event.
It's the largest treeing contest in the world.
Really? I have not seen the treeing contest in 25 years.
Okay,
so
it's still the
I
largest,
don't have
David.
a clue.
It's still the largest, trust me. Yeah.
I mean, I get that question a lot of times. People ask me how big was the crowd, and I'm like, well, there was 10 or 12 in the office. That's all I can tell you. Because most time I get out there, it's 4 or 5 o'clock and Saturday afternoon, the crowd's starting to die down. But
Hey, we talked a little bit about here a while ago. We talked about just the camaraderie and having the hunters come back after their hunt and this and that, all the, just the fellowship and everything. But this treeing contest is another thing, and it's good that you still have that. There's a lot of people that love that. It's a good little spectator sport, and a lot of people gathered around there, and it's good that you still have that. I always like to see that every time.
I probably get 10 or 12 calls, probably between now and the second about the treeing contest. I mean, I have a good many people call.
Yeah.
And what we do with that is any club that wants to put it on, we put their names in a hat and they draw, and they're responsible for taking care of it. They're responsible for the prizes or whatever they give away. And they keep all the funds from it. It's just another way that the club can raise money, to help with the club expenses and stuff. So, like I said, I know it's big, but I know it's been 25 years at least since I've got to be out there, because it's going on right during the time that we're taking entries and everything. So I don't have that opportunity to even look out the door.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. That's good to hear. I don't think.
Yeah.
And you never know what breed of dog you're going to see over there.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of segues us over to the part on the ad where we talk about dog dealers and barn space. There's a contact information on there for Mr. Randy Reiser. Get in touch with them probably sooner rather than later, because I know there's going to be a lot of dogs there. Either for sale or people housing their dogs that are there camping for the weekend or what have you. The one note that is in there that is very important, and I hear you guys talk about it a lot there, is that there's no bulldogs allowed on the grounds. That's not a personal vendetta by you, but that's, I'm assuming, a city or a county ordinance of some sort.
Right, it is. It's an insurance issue with our carrier. Years ago, we had a child got bit by a pit bull that someone was walking through. And so since then, we don't allow any, and we can't say you can't bring one in, but you can have one out there to sell. So we just had to say, you can't have them on the grounds, and y'all know the cost of insurance and everything. So, if your insurance carrier says they're not going to give you that liability policy if you've got that, so it's one of those things that we've had to deal with over the years.
Yeah, hey, one thing I will add about your dog barn out there that's right next to the headquarters building, there's guys that, they bring in some well-bred dogs, and people looking for dogs, young dogs, and even broke dogs and this and that. You'll find something. Just look around there, and the one thing I've noticed is that dog barn, you've really kind of cleaned that up in the last 5-6 years, seems like. Yeah. I don't know if it's just the way the hunters are, the dog guys are, but there's shavings in there. They have nice areas for them, and you'll see some pretty nice dogs in there that you can go and
you will, because it's a lot of the same guys every year.
Yeah, it is.
So,
in their same places and everything.
Right. And reputation is huge when it comes to the pups and buying young started hounds and everything. And those guys are there every year. So, they're obviously doing something right with what they're bringing. And they're they're treating the people right, so or they wouldn't be back in there every year.
Yeah.
And we have very, very few. I couldn't tell you when the last time I had a complaint about someone over there in the barns or anything. And yeah, the fairgrounds poured concrete in there 3 years ago. So it did away with all that dust. Man, it used to be just dusty. It's all get out in there, and then we bring in the shavings and we put up all the petitions and stuff. We do all that the week before the Grand American, and then on Monday usually take them all down and everything and clean all that out of there. But yeah, there's a lot of good dogs and a lot of top stud dogs and stuff that you will see in there as well, and pups off of them.
Yeah.
And then we got the dogs out there on the grounds. Sometimes there's as many as 100 or so different guys out there with, pretty much any breed you want, except for a bulldog.
Yeah. You're looking for a squirrel dog or a rabbit dog or a coon dog,
Yep.
whatever. You can
Had
find
a
it
guy
there.
called me yesterday, wanted to know if there was going to be any beagles, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be.
Yeah.
Haven't had anybody to ask about Boykin Spaniels yet.
I
But,
was just about to ask you that. Was there going to be any Boykin Spaniels there this year?
I have had 3 or 4 people put posts on our Grand American page, about Boykin Spaniels, just saying, are there going to be any or whatever, and I have declined them because we do a cutoff. After December 11th, you can put stuff on our page that like stud dogs or boxes for sale, tracking system for sale, or whatever. But the first until the deadline is over, I don't want that page getting pushed down that thread with the ad and everything wound up 100 down because everybody putting stuff on there. So we just decline them and until tomorrow. Ashley and I will start approving them and letting put stuff on there for sale and everything. So. But I'm sure somebody will have a post about Boykins.
Yeah, I remember that from last year. That was kind of the running joke. I saw a bunch of them on there, but
Yeah.
So you can refer to the Grand American ad that's on your guys' official Grand American Facebook page or on the UKC website to get Randy's number if you're interested in a spot in the barn out there.
Yep.
Also
Yep,
on there,
Randy's-
and probably go ahead.
I should say Randy is another one that he has been doing that same job for 40 years. So, yeah, he's another one
familiar
that's
with
been
it.
there for long time.
Yeah. Vendors. Whenever I think about Grand American, I think about vendors. That's the place to go if you need to buy anything, just about. And on your event ad, it tells us Miss Ashley Julian is going to be the one to contact for a vendor space. Are they still
Yeah.
available for people at this time?
I don't know.
Not sure. Okay.
Not just to being honest, I don't know. I mean, I know Alan called me about one the other day, and I do know that, and I didn't think about it, Alan, when we were talking, was probably the reason she hadn't called him back was she didn't have a spot, or she was waiting to hear from all the regulars. Once they get their stuff in and she knows who's coming and who's don't, then she starts contacting the new ones and stuff. And I didn't think about that when we were talking, but she gets so many phone calls and stuff that's just the way that she does it. That she just writes them down. She has a running list, and if you've called and want a spot and one opens up, then she contacts the first person on the list to see. Like I said, I didn't think about that when you and I were talking the other day, because
So if I'm hearing you right, you're still somewhat limited to the number of vendors that you do take, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. We've got like 125 spots, and typically all of them are full.
Yeah.
And what she does is, if someone is not coming, and then she'll go to the next person, and then the thing that a lot of people don't know is, just say, and I'll use Johnny Dalton as an example. I mean, Johnny's going to be there, but if for some reason Johnny wasn't going to be able to come this year, he'd still pay his money to hold his spot.
Hmm.
I mean, we have that all the time. When you walk through the barns, you may see an empty vendor spot. It's paid for. For some reason, whatever, they were not able to come, but they don't want to lose that spot, so they pay for it,
Yeah.
to keep it. And so that's, and sometimes we may tell someone, we've got a spot that's just opened this year. There's no guarantee you'll get to come back next year, and people are still willing to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's every year she has people for some reason can't come, but they still pay for their spot.
Yeah.
Next on my list here is campers. Looks like that's probably done through the fairground. If somebody was interested in a camping spot, they are to mail their deposit. It looks like it's a $50 or $60 deposit to the Orange County Fairground.
Right.
Again, refer to the event ad for specific details. But there's also a number for a lady named Heather, who I assume coordinates the fairgrounds there, that they can reach out to for specific questions about camping.
Right. And I think she's, there's no one there full time. She's there like once or twice a week. She comes in, takes the voicemails and everything, and calls everybody back. And I was talking with Roger last night, Roger Enlow, which is our vice president. And Roger said that he had talked to Laura, which is another one of the ladies that helps with the the campground, and that she had told him that they were almost full.
Nice.
Yeah.
All good signs.
Yeah.
Next thing, Coonfest. Always hear of it and see of it, but it seems like it's always either right when we're getting there to set up or what have you there on Thursday at noon. Do you want to talk a little bit about Coonfest and what's going on?
Yeah,
there?
that is one of the churches in that area. God, I don't know how many years it's been going on, but a long time. They'll come out and they'll have some gospel music, some bluegrass music. They'll feed everyone. It's usually either some soup or some beans, and we have had beans and collards and stuff when the first was close or whatever. And then they'll do prizes and stuff. They have some drawings and give away some door prizes and stuff like that. It's just kind of a thing that they do to help the hunters and mostly a lot of the vendors and the people out in the dog barns and stuff that are bringing their stuff and getting everything set up. It's an opportunity they can go over and get a free meal and a hot meal instead of eating a pack of crackers and a drink or something while you're working along there, and an opportunity for them to be able to show God's love through the actions of the outreach of their church and doing that. And I think it's great, and it's very well received. There's always a good crowd there, and you guys get there a little earlier and stop by. I mean, you'll be impressed.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
I've been there several times before, and that happens over in the same building where they have the show, right?
Right, it's in
Yeah.
the Bates building. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's we bring the bleachers and stuff, and they come in and they set everything up. And like I said, once that's over and they tear down, then Danielle and Gary and all those start setting up for the show. So a lot of work goes on Thursdays in that building.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of moving pieces.
Yes.
And then kind of just wrapping up things you need to know about Grand American here. I put down some times for people to know that we get some questions about. Gates open Friday and Saturday at 7 a.m. That's when you'll be able to get on the gates. Barns are going to open at 8 a.m. and they close at 6 p.m. Is there anything anything I'm omitting there that people need to know about?
Nope. That's the biggest thing is those times, because we're not gonna open up the grounds to allow people in there and stuff. We want to wait until it's light, and to give our vendors an opportunity to be there. They know, what time we're going to open the gates and what time we're going to open the barns and everything. So they're there prior to that, and our staff, Jay and Roger and Will and Dale and all those out there working, they're there at 6 o'clock, getting everything ready, getting ready to open the gates, and then We actually have several that are just assigned to working just the dogs on the grounds and stuff, and those guys will be there to make sure everything's good. Daniel and Ryan takes care of that part of it. So, man, like you said, there's a lot of moving parts, and we make sure. I mean, we'll have people want in early, but we're not. We're gonna 7 o'clock.
And the parking lot over there, $5 to park. I think I saw in the ad.
Right.
Park.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And the only reason we charge $5 a park is because we pay those people to park it in an orderly fashion, which is so much better than it used to be helter skelter out there. And
Yeah.
yeah. So that was another move we made about 8 or 10 years ago, I guess, to try to help us. Because like Alan said, especially on Saturdays, I mean, they'll be parked all the way up to town. And we try to keep that road open out there as much as possible. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention before we hop off of here is that this year, Mikey Covington over in Walterboro at the Walterboro Coonhounds Association, I know he had talked to you about putting on some sort of one of our UKC Pro Slams the week of the Grand American while people are there. We got one scheduled on Thursday night, and as we anticipated, that thing filled up in just a couple hours there the first day it opened. So it's full now as you hear this, but be on the lookout for us. Hope to get over there on Thursday night at some point and help those guys out or take some pictures of it and all that good stuff. And just another thing to add to the crazy week and the fun week for something extra for the hunters that want to be there. So I thought it was a good idea. I appreciate Mikey kind of spearheading that, and it's going to be a fun, I believe.
yes, I'm glad. I mean, for probably the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, we've had people asking about doing it, and as you two are well aware, Thursday nights are just we can't take on anything else. I mean, it's full because they wanted us to do one at the fairgrounds and stuff, and we just can't. So when Mikey reached out to me, if it would be okay, I'm like, absolutely, yes, definitely, and I don't think you'll have any problems with it. And I had a few people to call when it come out, want to know how far it was and everything, and it's great hunting in that area, so I think it's going to do really well, and maybe after some of the other clubs see it's successful, I mean, who knows, maybe someone want to have one Wednesday the following year.
Yeah, I always think it's good. We started doing that at Autumn Oaks a lot of years ago, I guess, and it's been so good for us. Not just that, it's like in your case, a different club is putting this on, and I've always liked to see some of the hunters want to hunt. They want to hunt anyways. They're there. They want to get their dogs out, and it's good to give them an avenue. And I like to see the clubs that are helping us also benefiting from. Everybody benefits, it seems like, and we mentioned the Tournament of Champions, that's guys want to get their 5 cast wins, starts. This will be the first weekend for starting with that, and all those wins, cast wins, will count. If it's a licensed event, it's going to count. This Pro Slam will count towards that, and I know several of the guys that are that got a entry in the Pro Slam. They plan on being at the Grand American on Friday and Saturday night, and trying to get as many cast wins as they can on this weekend for the TOC. So it's all good. Everybody's it's a good thing.
Y'all's turnout on Thursday nights at almost, and the Winter Classic. I mean, it's really grown. I mean, it's been great. And I'm glad that someone finally did step up and was willing to do it, and I'm glad it's full, and I hope it grows.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I know we probably ran over a little bit, but I did want to mention just a little bit about, I'm always taken aback when I'm there by the city and the county's support of you guys, city, all that stuff. You guys do the dinner for them on Thursday night, and you usually have the mayor there and city council members and, chamber members and everybody there in attendance. And honestly, some of the support that we saw in that area have kind of taken hold, I guess, maybe in my mind and Alan's mind as well, because in the past year we've scheduled TOC region there in Manning, South Carolina, which isn't very far from Orangeburg, and also have a World Zone in Norway, South Carolina, which is really close, both last year and this coming year. And really excited to bring some stuff to that area. We know there's a big stronghold of hunters in that area, and to know that general area supports coon hunters and what we do, and understand what we do. We want to support the area best we can, and I think that we're kind of doing that a little bit by getting some more majors there a little bit.
Yes, and and it's very much appreciated. I mean, Millen and those guys that did a great job putting on the zones, and Nelson and Eric and Dre and them will do a great job with the TOC championship. I have no doubt. It's two very strong clubs, and two very active clubs, which is very important when it comes to putting on any major event. And those two are probably our two biggest supporters with guides and stuff for the Grand American, and um, both clubs are always willing to help. And yeah, just uh, talking about the city and the county and the chamber and everything. I mean, the amount of support and help we get is just it's awesome. And it really has grown. And uh, that appreciation dinner, well, you two know
Mm-hmm.
what happened last year. I mean, and it was an embarrassment on our parts, but we're moving it to. They have actually just built a convention center, so they said James McQuillan with the chamber told me, he said, it'll hold 250 or it'll hold 500. Whatever we want to go with. So we're shooting for the 250 part. So when I texted Alan the other night about y'all coming, and I had texted someone else, and they was like, well, it was kind of crowded last year, and I don't want to take away from nobody. And I'm like, no, it's a bigger place this year. Purina is actually going to be able to bring more of their breeds in, and do a little more job. I talked with Dave, and made him aware that we were going to a bigger venue, so they may be able to recognize all their breed winners instead of just doing the overalls, which I think would be awesome. And the county is all for that. And uh, yeah, they're very supportive. I've actually got to be down there on the 17th to speak at the Rotary Club about the Grand American. And both of y'all know, yeah, I'm not big on the speech, so they'll get about 5 minutes, and that's it.
Yeah, you do just fine. Yeah, no, I've been to a lot of them. That was my very first major event working with UKC. It was in 2005, going to the Grand American with Todd Kellum. But so I've been to a lot of those dinners on Thursday night there, and you can tell your city and your county they appreciate the people that come into it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and it's they
they
speak
are.
there at that dinner, and it's very apparent,
Yeah, yeah.
and they want to keep
It's
them there.
yeah, and it's and I'm glad it's a two-way street. I mean, we try to do what we can to help the community through it, and make it more prosperous for everyone. And in turn, if we need something or we run into an issue that we need help, I mean, they just bend over backwards to help us with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, that's good to maintain that good solid relationship with your
yeah,
locals there for sure.
absolutely,
Everybody wins when
absolutely.
you can do that. You have to.
Yeah. And I guess the one thing I do want to mention is how much I do appreciate all the people that are behind the scenes, um, those 3 days especially. But you know, we meet for breakfast at 8 o'clock Thursday morning uh, over at Mama's Kitchen. There'll be about 35 of us there. And then we leave there and we go, and we open the gates at 10 for the vendors to come in. And um, we don't stop until Sunday morning when it's all over with and everything. And uh, I don't want to sit here and try to name names because I don't want to forget anyone. But like I said, it is a great team of men and women working behind the scenes out there in the cold, in the rain, in the heat, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, they all uh, are out there, and they're going to be there from 6 o'clock that morning until 7 o'clock that night both days, and some of us on into the wee hours of the morning. And especially for you two and anyone listening that knows what it takes to put on an event of this size, you can't do it without the people behind the scenes doing it. And I'm really blessed to have the group that I do. It's I may just maybe I'm the figurehead, and if it looks good, I look good. If it looks bad, I look bad. But my group make me look good all the time, for I'm concerned. They do awesome.
I'm like you. I didn't want to start naming names, but you do have a strong group of folks there, and if you're there, thank them. There's long thankless hours. Talk to them. They're all really enjoyable, and I will just say that I think Saturday night, one of my favorite nights of the whole travel year, there in the office with you and Harry Ott and Ashley Moss, and you got Dale and John there, and just kind of cutting up, and it's coming down to the end there, and making plans for next year already, and Harry's all fired up, and it's just it's a fun crowd to be around. I always enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
it is. That's true. I mean, we have our first board meeting on Friday night for 2026.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we're going to be wrapping this thing up here in just a minute here, but David, I also want to take the opportunity to, on behalf of UKC, to thank you and all of your staff. You didn't mention a lot of names, just don't want to miss anybody, but just everybody involved, and you and your whole team. We really appreciate all of you and the clubs that are involved with putting them on, and everybody there. We appreciate everybody very much, and thank you for that, and that continued good relationship, I feel like, with here for the first big event of the year. That is the Grand American, and just so much history there. I think Trevor and I have been kind of involved here in the last decade or more, couple decades, I guess, for me, but even then, just a lot of history in that time. But also think back, for me, I think back, the history is so deep here, with names like Laverne Miller and just and a lot of others like that. It's I think it's just a lot of history there, and I'm a history buff to begin with, but to think back what it really is, and everything that's came through the Grand American is pretty phenomenal when you think about it in the grand scheme of our sport, where the Grand American has been a huge part of that and the legacy of the sport. So
Absolutely, and we appreciate the help that we get from you guys as well. I mean, Trevor being in that office is such a huge help. He's not as sweet as Taylor or Joyce were, but he does a great job. He does a great job. I'm just picking, and that's the thing. We've made friendships. I mean, Joyce has been retired from y'all for I don't know how many years, and I still get a message from her every once in a while from Facebook. And
she was a dandy, wasn't she? She was a dandy.
Yes, yeah. And Taylor was down a few years ago. It was great to get to see her. And I don't know if anyone's coming with y'all this year, but I'm sure whoever is will be exceptional, and will do a great job helping everybody out, because y'all's table stays busy as well.
Yeah, that's kind of a good way to put a bow on it there. We'll be set up there right by the hunt headquarters. If you guys need us, we'll be taking registration paperwork. We'll have some rule books. Just come by and talk to us. Also going to have some field reps there with us, Philip Foster and Curtis Sparks, and they know how to talk pretty well too. So come by and talk to us. We'll talk dogs. It'll be fun, and we can't wait to see you guys at the 2025 Grand American. It's coming up soon, so make plans to attend today.
Thank you for listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. Be sure to give us a follow so you don't miss any of our new episodes or content.